Have you tried budgeting before and it just didn't work for you for one reason or another? Maybe it was just too frustrating or it felt too restrictive, and you've heard you're supposed to be budgeting, but you just haven't found a way that works for you. So, if that's you, then keep on watching because today we're talking about my easy 1, 2, 3 budget hack to be able to make your budgeting super simple and make sure that you're getting everything taken care of really easily and to have that peace of mind knowing that you know where your money is going. And because it can be confusing sometimes to deal with the question of where is my money going, or even maybe how much money is coming in. Maybe you're not even quite sure exactly how much money you're making each and every month. And maybe you have a job that's got a really variable pay schedule or something like that. So, the more you have going on in your life, the more you need a budget because it is the tool that's the roadmap that will really help guide you on your journey going forward and make sure that you have money for savings, money for emergencies, money for retirement, money to put your kids through college if you choose to do that, and that you have everything you need going forward to be financially secure. But it all starts with budgeting, and it's not glamorous or anything of the sort, but it doesn't have to be super complicated either. And in fact, I'm a big advocate of having something simpler rather than something more complicated. You can check out my whole playlist on budgeting, and I also have a video I'll link to in the description in that playlist on how to build an Excel budget, which is super easy. It's the one I use. I've been using it for 7 or 8 years now. Love it. Works great, and it's free to set up if you have Excel. So check out that video when you're done watching this one. Who am I, by the way? I am Sarah Edens, and I'm so happy that you're joining me here today. Welcome back if you are a current subscriber, and welcome if this is the first time you've come across my channel. We are growing rapidly. We're almost up to 100 subscribers right now, which I am absolutely thrilled about. I've just been on YouTube since May, and it is just a pleasure being here. I am a finance coach, I'm an author, and I'm a wealth mindset researcher. And so I help you unlock your inner millionaire by developing a wealth mindset and building practical finance skills like budgeting. All right, so let's get right into it. So, what's the easy 1, 2, 3 budgeting technique that I use? So, the very first place that you start is to save and invest first. You will hear many people recommending this. I recently ran across Warren Buffett recommending this when I was doing research for the series I did on him, which I will link to in the description. And that was something that he really credited to his success, was that he always saved and invested first. And so any money that was coming in to his accounts, he would always make sure to save and invest what he needed to do for the future first before he went and spent on anything else. And that's just a really great policy, because I think that the challenging thing, and this is where our budgets come in and save the day, the challenging thing is that it's so easy to spend everything we make and then some every single month. I'd say it is just, there's so much to spend on right now. There's so much pressure to consume. We're constantly being barraged by advertisements and marketing campaigns and all kinds of things. And so there's more and more and more ways that we can spend our money. And so if you have the habit built in that as soon as your money comes in, you've decided how much needs to go to savings, and then obviously if you invest, how much is going to your portfolio. And then from there, everything that's left is going to go towards all your other things that you need to spend on kind of today's needs and wants. But set aside that money for tomorrow or for a rainy day, for your retirement, like I was saying earlier, for your kids' college education, if that's something you're saving towards, and all of that. So that's really the very first place to start, is just make sure you've got your priorities straight and that you're really prioritizing money for a rainy day, money for your future self, and then also putting money into investments if you choose to do so, to take advantage of what's called compound interest, so that as you have your money in investments over time, it continues to grow, which is even more important now than I would say it's been in a long time, because we're dealing with high levels of inflation. And so while it's great to have money in your savings accounts, it's also great to have interest coming back towards you on your money, even if all you do is put your money in CDs or certificates of deposit, which often will offer you higher interest rates, although they do lock your money away from you and you can't withdraw it without a penalty for a set amount of time if you want to get it out earlier. So be aware of that. Or look for a high yield savings account, because those are often offering right now, I think about 4% is the national average on high yield savings accounts. So you can have your money in a savings account. It's not invested, but banks are starting to offer that just to help people's money at least try to keep up with inflation a little bit, with how much that's kind of eating away at how far our money is going. So that's number one, is save and invest first. Just make it a habit, make it a practice. If you want to, you can automate your deposits to your savings and investment accounts so that as soon as you get paid, money automatically goes back out, and you can set up a bank transfer every single month that recurs. So you can consider doing that, or you can just go in and do it manually. I do it manually just because I don't like to have to worry about overdrafts. So when I sit down and after we get paid, I make sure that all the money goes into savings first before I do anything else. So however you choose to handle that, totally up to you, but get that priority as number one, and then you will be in really good shape going forward to have that financial security and peace of mind. The second thing to do is to put your money towards your bills and your fixed expenses next. So once you've set aside what you need to for savings and investments, then you focus on what I think of as needs, and that is going to be housing, utilities, and this is kind of like, when I say needs, I'm thinking about fixed amounts that you have going out every single month, or, bills that you're going to have coming out. So your mortgage payment, your rent payments, these kind of fixed expenses. Maybe they vary a little bit from month to month. Your water bill might go up or down. Your electric bill might go up or down depending on the season and how much you're using things. But really start to have the picture, you can get out your calculator and figure out how much all of your kind of fixed bills are running you every single month. And then what I do, and what's worked very well for me, so you can do this if you want to, is I have a checking account that's just for housing and bills. And that's all that it's for. And I know exactly how much I need to put out of our paychecks into that account, so that I never have to worry about, oh my goodness, I accidentally spent the rent money on a shopping spree, or now how are we going to pay the electric bill? How are we going to pay the water bill? It is all too easy to just run through all the cash coming in every single month, and then you still have those really, really important things you need to pay for, that those expenses are coming your way every single month. So having a set account where you just set that money aside, right behind savings and investments, set aside that money for all the bills are headed your way every single month. That way you just can have that peace of mind and know that the money that you need is there for you to pay those expenses. And then what happens over time, for example, with things like your water bill, you can kind of look at it and average out about how much money it's going to run you every single month. If you look at your bills for 6 to 12 months, you can kind of guesstimate how much it's running you every single month. And then what happens is, if you're just putting that amount into your rent and bills account, then if you have a month where your water bill is lower, then you'll start to build a little bit of padding into that account. So it all evens out in the end. But the main thing is just to have a place where you put that money that's sacred, so you don't worry about spending the money for the mortgage or the money to pay utilities on something frivolous, or on something that you just didn't realize how close you were getting to blowing your budget that month. That has been something that's just been a game changer for me. And ever since I discovered that technique, it's been really fantastic. And this is the book that actually taught me these skills. This is called The Budget Kit. It's by Judy Lawrence. I can't recommend this enough. You hear me talking about this a lot on my channel. I feel like this is about the best book I've found personally on budgeting. So I'll link to it in the description. And I have a whole page on my website now of book recommendations. And so if you're looking for books to help you with your mindset, mindset towards money, if you're looking for books to help you with practical finance skills and everything in between, I have you covered. So I'm going to continue to add to that page over time and continue to give you more and more resources if you have things you want to learn more about. So I will link to that in the description as well. So that's the second one, is put your money towards your rent, towards your bills first, or second, so that you've got that covered. And then the third is then you take everything that's left after that. So let's say you have a paycheck come in, you put what you need to towards savings, you put what you need to towards rent and your fixed bills, and then you look at how much is left. So out of whatever's left, then you can start to really have fun playing around with that, because that's going to go towards things that are still needs, obviously, but things that you have a little bit more control over how much you spend on them. So for example, groceries, gas, which often is obviously dictated by the price of gas at the time. So that's something you don't have as much control over, but figuring out how much you want to spend at the grocery store or on food in general, eating out, things like that, takeout. And then also spending on gas, spending on things you need for your home, personal care items, all of these different things. And so out of that money, then that's what you decide and divide all of that up so that you've got everything covered that way. And then what you can also do, and I highly encourage all of my students to do this, is to set up what I call fun money checking accounts for yourself, for your spouse. You can even consider doing this for your children to start teaching them how to manage money, and have everybody set up with their own checking account, their own debit card. Make sure you have an overdraft protection on your checking accounts with a credit card linked to it, so you don't accidentally incur overdraft fees if you don't remember exactly how much is in your account and overdraw it by $1 and all of a sudden you're hit with a $25 overdraft fee. You don't want that. So set up those fun money accounts and then decide, after you've paid for, figured out how much you need every month for groceries, for gas, for, household supplies, anything else you can think of, then figure out how much each member of the family gets for their fun money. And that money is theirs. It is no questions asked what's done with it and what's it's spent on. Obviously, you want to be encouraging everyone to spend responsibly, but within limits. It's going to be their money to spend on their projects and their hobbies and the things that they want to buy for themselves. And so that's a really important key tool, because like I said at the beginning of this video, many people just give up on budgeting completely and just chuck it out the window and just wing it, because they're like, oh my gosh, my budget is so restrictive. It's so frustrating. Trying to stay on budget is really annoying. I just don't want to be bothered, and I never have any money to spend on what I want to spend on. So if you just build those categories into your budget, then you know that you've got money for the things that you want, as well as taking care of your longer term goals and taking care of your current things that you have to pay for, with keeping a roof over your head and the lights on and all those important things. And so that way, as you build the habit of this 1-2-3 budgeting system where you save and invest, you put your money into a separate account for however much you need to cover your rent, your mortgage, your fixed bills, and then you have everything else that you divide up to pay for kind of your day-to-day needs and some of your wants and your fun purchases. As you build a habit out of this, it will just become easier and easier and easier. And I'm not going to lie, it takes time to learn this and a real dedication and a discipline. But I know that you have that because you're here watching this video. You're here wanting to learn and educate yourself about managing your money. And so I have full confidence that you will be able to absolutely do this. And it is really something that as you practice, it just becomes easier and easier and easier. It just becomes habitual, and it really takes the stress off. You don't have to worry if you're going to run out of money towards the end of the month if you get paid by, twice a week or once a month or however your paycheck comes in. You really can just take a deep breath and not have to worry if you're going to have money to cover your expenses, because you've got everything allocated out, and give or take a month where you have something that comes up like an expensive healthcare copay or an expensive vet bill. There are things that just come up that will blow your budget. Absolutely, it happens. That's what your savings are for those kind of one-off expenses, for your emergency savings. But In general, you will just have a situation then where you're not blowing your budget because you know exactly where things are coming and going from with the money that you're making. And you're not running credit card balances. And it will just continue to be something that will really reinforce your confidence around managing your money as you continue to build these skills. And again, if you need more pointers on budgeting, check out the Budget Kit by Judy Lawrence, and you can also check out my entire playlist on budgeting, which I continue to add to as I think of other things and tips and tricks that will be helpful for you as you're learning how to budget, because it's just one of the most important skills you can possibly learn as an adult. I really, really wish they would teach this starting in, as early as junior high or high school, certainly at least by college, to have some kind of training on how do you manage your money? How do you move, allocate everything that's coming in and keep track of it? And how do you do the whole budgeting thing? And it's amazing that we're not taught this in school, because it's so critically important to know how to manage your money and how to budget so you don't end up spending more than you're making and end up in a lot of debt, which is incredibly stressful and just tends to create a lot of both personal stress, and it can create relationship stress if you're in a relationship and you've got money you're managing together, and that can create its own problems. So better late than never, though. We're here talking about this now, and I'm so happy that you chose to join me today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon in my next video.